Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now today is Sunday, so you know what that means. We're going around the net with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. So on the docket for today, we have a slight update on the Visa Mastercard giant settlement. We have Priority Pass giving us some more options. We have Chase potentially taking a card out of American Express's book, and of course we have American Express on a little bit of an acquisition run. So we'll break it all down for you. So of course if that sounds interesting to you, then go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now we will lead off with the story we've been tracking for quite some time, is the settlement between Visa and Mastercard, the payment networks. A while back, they had reached a settlement that was not necessarily giving them money, but a lot of concessions that they were making to the retailers who were, suing that, hey, it's a monopoly, we can't choose, all the other complaints, right? So we'll put it up on screen for you so you can remember what they were actually settling on. But the update here is that the factual federal judge has blocked the settlement, so not going to happen now. They had until June 28th to respond. Visa and Mastercard did. So at the time of taping, we don't have a response, but I'm sure one is coming. It'll be a fascinating read, I'm sure. But again, as you remember, they were going to lower the swipe fees by at least a little bit of a percentage over the next 3 years. They were going to ensure an average rate of 7 basis points below the current average for 5 years. They were going to cap the rates, remove anti-steering provisions, and then stores also have more room to offer discounts to extra charges on cards, which higher processing fees, which stores have seemed to start doing that already from what I'm hearing from some of you guys out there, that we've seen a lot more places, add in processing fees, so maybe they didn't tell them it was blocked. But either way, they'll have to come up with something new. I would imagine they're going to side on the side of the retailers and say, Visa and Mastercard have to give even more. What's missing from it? I don't know. Maybe they're not deep enough discounts for them. It seemed fairly generous. I don't know that it really does much for the retailers as much as they think it does. But the capping the fees and letting them offer discounts, which I think they were doing it anyway, so I don't really know what they're getting from that. But either way, it was just more so giving retailers enough time to kind of find what the next thing was, the next move, maybe try to make some of their own deals like we've seen some of the larger places like Costco do, and I think Amazon's got one as well, at least in the UK. We talked about that. So anyways, when we get an update, we will be back with the details for sure. Now, moving on to Priority Pass, everyone's favorite lounge network. It's so hit or miss. They're actually adding kind of sort of some new options. So you remember we've talked about escape lounges before. Escape lounges were generally smaller lounges in you're not massive airports, maybe you're medium to smaller size airports. And escape lounges themselves aren't new, but previously I believe they were limited to the Priority Pass option that was on the Platinum card. But now they're actually bringing the escape lounges, or a lot of them, to Priority Pass for everyone who's got Priority Pass, which is basically everyone with a travel card. So again, stateside you've got 10. So you've got some in Bradley International, John Glenn, Columbus International, Cincinnati, Greenville, Spartanburg International, Minneapolis, I know where that one's at, Oakland International, Phoenix, Sky Harbor, Rhode Island, Sacramento is actually getting 2 in Terminal A and Terminal B. So that's coming at you from OMAT. So over again, we've covered these before. I don't think they're bad by any means. Again, more options is always good. And again, I don't know how crowded these are going to be, considering one, yes, they're smaller, but they're two, I'm not going to say terrible airports, but they're off the beaten path. They're not like Atlanta's airport or, LAX or something like that. So, again, more options better. I don't know what it does for, Platinum card deal. Again, that was more of a exclusive, I guess you could say, but now it's open to everyone. Either way, someone's going to complain they're going to be overcrowded, I'm sure. But again, more options, not too bad. So continuing along with options, we now have Chase in the news, taking a play from American Express's playbook with a pop-up box on applications. So if you don't know, American Express is still far more, feared, I guess, or infamous, a whole pop-up jail that basically says, hey, if you put in your application, and they kind of do a soft run and say, hey, well, we're not going to give you the intro offer, but we could still give you the card if you wanted. Historically, Chase has just denied you if you didn't qualify for the intro offer, specifically Sapphire and Freedoms. So Sapphire's every 4 years since your last intro offer and you can't currently hold the Sapphire card. Freedom, same deal, can't currently hold the card you're applying for, but it's every 2 years. And so if you applied and you were ineligible, well, they would just deny you. I don't know what they would put on the denial letter, something vague that kind of sort of spoke to it, I'm sure. Well, now looks like Chase, at least for the Sapphire and the Freedom line, their own cards, is giving you the option of saying, hey, you're not eligible, but we could still give you the card. Now, I haven't seen this myself. I think it was reported from Reddit, a few other spots of folks who have seen it. I don't know. I mean, with Chase cards, it's not, I can't really think of a scenario where you'd want one and just not care enough to get the intro offer. Because you're at that point, you probably have a lot of Chase cards, and it might be easier to just upgrade, simply upgrade, call in and upgrade one of your existing Freedoms or Freedom Unlimiteds to the Sapphire card that you wanted. I don't think the Freedom Unlimited is good enough to, like, I'm going to get this without the offer. Freedom Flex, I kind of feel the same way. I think they're really good cards. Do I think they're cards that I would just take without an offer? No. I guess if you had a ton of Ultimate Reward points and you were trying to, burn them through Travel Portal or something, or get them out to transfer partners, sure, but even then, I mean, I guess that would be really the only way. But even then, I think you're better off just upgrading your card, doing what you need to do, than downgrading again. So I don't know if this is an amazing option, but it's an option. I mean, why turn away someone? Because for Chase, it still counts as a sale. So anyways, I guess let me know what your use cases are. What would it take? What Chase card would you have to want and why to blow past an intro offer? But not to be outdone, American Express is moving on their Apply with Confidence feature to business cards, which is somewhat nice. So Apply with Confidence is a nice feature they've had on personal cards. It's basically the same thing as the pop-up box, only friendlier. Say, hey, if you put in your information, we'll tell you based off the soft pull, like if we're going to give you this or not, but then later we'll actually have to do the full inquiry and all that, so we have it for documentation purposes. But the point is, you don't have to burn or credit inquiry on it. You can just know. It's been well covered here. I don't personally care about credit inquiries, like whatever. We eat them like Skittles, as we say. But the hard pulls is a big thing for a lot of people, and is a lot of questions they get about, hey, am I going to get approved? Like, I don't know. How would I know? Well, now you can know. So they're moving that to business cards as well, which is good, which is interesting, though, because the business cards that I've gotten, they've just given me. Like, ever since I got the business cash card, I think the business gold, the business platinum, and even the blue business plus I just got, they were not hard inquiries. They were just like, here you go, which is great. I don't remember seeing a, hey, we'll just give you this, though. It was like in my offers list or something. So either way, that is helpful to folks out there, so very good on them. Last story. Staying with American Express. American Express seems to be on a bit of an acquisition spree as of late, so we'll talk about what this could mean. So it does tie into the killing off of the Resi app, or the Lounge Buddy app, right? They killed that off a week or two ago. You can still use Lounge Buddy through their portal and everything, so it's still alive and lives on, but the actual standalone app is killed. So press release on screen. What else have they bought to go alongside Lounge Buddy? And I guess you could throw Resi in there as well as two. Is they've acquired two companies, Talk from Squarespace and a company called Roam. I think we're saying that correctly. So what do each one of these things do? Well, Talk, I believe, is used to like book entertainment and dining tables and things like that, where like Roam is kind of like I think it's kind of like a middleware type deal where it can help facilitate payments and transactions through a lot of these companies as well. So they're getting into like the full stack of sorts, right? So if we got the press release, we can't possibly get through reading it, right? Because you know how I love press releases. They all said nice things about one another. Great. So, I mean, what does it really mean? What are they trying to do? Why are they on this buying spree of these apps? Well, I mean, originally when we talked about Lounge Buddy going away, I was of the mind that they would roll it into the travel portal, trying to bolster the travel portal, right? We've seen a push on travel portals. Even cities redone theirs. We know Chase a while back bought CX Loyalty to bring theirs in-house from Expedia. You don't really know what Wells Fargo is going to do yet. Built Rewards, we've talked about last week, is still a competitor travel portal. So that's what I thought they were going to do. But then they go ahead and do this. And we'll give credit to the OG, Mr. Sebi himself. He was like, no, they're going to make a super app because, super apps are all the rage overseas. And I was like, that does actually make more sense. I thought they were going to bolster the travel portal to be all-inclusive one stop for everything, not just travel, but dining, entertainment, events, obviously, travel, of course, that's going to be a staple. It would make more sense to have it in an app, just simply because how we interact with devices now. If you're walking around the airport, most people are going to want to book through an app. The user interface is usually better. American Express does have pretty good user interfaces for their credit card app. Their business blueprint app for business checking that I use, I don't care for that one, but the credit card app, pretty good as far as credit card apps go. So what would be the point, though, of going to these? Well, I think, they probably learned, not just American Express, but everyone kind of learned a little bit during the lockdown, during when there was no travel, that, we do need alternative ways to use these cards. If they're heavy travel, even though they know a lot about travel customers, it still limits you to a niche group, right? Versus if I can expand it out to that buzzword of lifestyle, then I can sell these to someone who travels, I don't know, 2-3 times a year maybe not even fancy travel, but they still travel. And then, oh, hey, this is still beneficial when you're at home and not traveling as much by, being able to book these fancy tables in restaurants, or being able to get live event tickets and things like that. Things that all of these companies have been trying to be synonymous with. Again, I think American Express is leading the pack. We know they've had, Amex setups in, was it wherever the Nets play? I'm not going to call them the New Jersey Nets because everyone gets mad at me when I do that, but I don't care. But the Nets, and then I think in the Warriors maybe, they've got places, right? Trying to make it more lifestyle. Chase has played around with having like Sapphire Lounge pop-ups, not an airport lounge, just like a lounge you go to hang out. So I think they're saying this is the next frontier, and American Express is starting to assemble their parts to make their play. I do think we'll see this again extended down to the cards, because that's how they get you in. The Platinum is pretty couponed up, but as we said, I think Resi will be a huge push there. They'll probably throw some Resi there. I think you might even see some Lounge Buddy credits in there, or you could even see some kind of like how they have FHR credits. Hey, if you book through the app, travel app, whatever they call it, you get a credit that would pushing people through that, but it'll cover dining, it'll cover maybe events. Ideally, you'd see some more multipliers, right? Because again, that's Capital One. The knock is that, Capital One, you venture card, you have to get the multipliers, you have to go through the travel portal, which isn't terrible, but I understand it is a restriction. So, they do offer on the Platinum 5X through hotels if you go through the travel portal. I think I would be more receptive to this if they also added some more, like, hey, you get 5X or 4X back on everything booked through this super app if it comes to fruition. That would be helpful, because then at least they're adding some multipliers to balance out with the coupons, and they could be potentially useful. Of course, you got to price everything. So I'm not going to bash them until we actually see if this is the play. But it does feel that way, as lifestyle and entertainment is kind of the next frontier, especially as we've realized we've maxed out the airport lounge thing. We've got our mileage from that. We've got our mileage from status. We've got our mileage from metal cards, but I can make it into an events card, a happening card, a lifestyle that you can also take on the road. I think that would fit. But of course, let me know what you want to see in American Express lifestyle branding or a super app. What is it missing out there? What would you like to see? If they could get a tie-in even, with some of the travel programs, I think that would be super helpful. I don't know how far they can go with that. But anyways, that is what we think they're working on. So, of course, we will keep you posted on that. Because even if I'm wrong, it's still fun to be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'll just blame the travel guy that I took this idea from, right? It's always his fault. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this one. So, of course, if you liked it, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel. So we're posting content just like this every single week. Of course, we're right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. And, of course, every single day over on ProfitableContent.com. That's the channel's blog, always linked down below for you, and on the homepage. We only have the latest news stories just like this. We have bank promotions, so, if you prefer money over cards, we've got that. And if you prefer cards to give you money as well, even some travel points, well, wouldn't you know, we have those as well. So go ahead and check that out. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this one. As always, thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you very soon in the next one.